This quote, man, it really gets to the heart of the whole idea. The texts describe the smoke as a sweet savor or a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And that isn't just poetic fluff. It's a really powerful sensory metaphor for accepted worship. That pleasing smell symbolized that the devotion being offered, it was received and it was welcomed. All right, now let's check out two other voluntary offerings that were all about fellowship and thanksgiving. First, you've got the meat offering. And here's a little fun fact for you. Despite the name, it wasn't meat at all. It was actually a grain offering. We're talking fine flour, oil, and frankincense, representing the basics of daily life, the bread of the land. And it was seasoned with the salt of the covenant, which symbolized its permanence. Then you've got the peace offering. And this was basically a sacred barbecue, a shared meal. The fat, which was seen as the richest part, was offered to God because, as the text says, the fat is the Lord's. But the rest? It was shared by the person bringing the offering and the priests. It was this amazing meal of communion, of peace and fellowship between God, the priests, and the people. Pretty cool, right? But what happened when things went wrong? I mean, life isn't always celebrations and thankfulness, right? That brings us to our second big category, the mandatory offerings. These were for those times that required atonement and repair. And the word atonement here is pretty simple. It just means making amends. It's about taking real action to fix a relationship that's been broken, whether that's with God or with another person. So first up in this category is the sin offering. Now, this was specifically for unintentional sins, the mistakes you make out of ignorance or weakness, not the times when you're deliberately rebelling. It was also used for ritual purification. And this distinction is absolutely crucial. The whole system understood there's a huge difference between a genuine mistake and a defiant, I know this is wrong and I'm doing it anyway kind of act. This offering was the official way to get right with God after you messed up. And the ritual itself was just packed with symbolism. The priest would take some of the blood and dab it on the horns of the altar. Those are the highest points, which signified purification right at the very heart of worship. The fat, once again, was offered to God, but the rest of the animal, which represented the sin itself, was carried without the camp. That means completely outside the sacred community space, and it was totally disposed of. It was this powerful physical picture of removing sin from the entire community. And this part, I think this is so important. The system wasn't just for the rich. It actually had a built-in sliding scale. So what if you couldn't afford a lamb for your sin offering? No problem. You could bring 2 birds instead. And what if you couldn't even afford that? A small amount of fine flour was still totally acceptable. The main takeaway here is that access to making things right, it was available to everyone, no matter what their economic situation was.